In the dark corners of 1970s Harlem, heroin wasn't just a drug. It was currency, power, and death all rolled into one. At the top of this drug empire stood a man unlike any the city had seen before. Frank Lucas, the so-called king of heroin, wasn't just another gangster. He ran one of the most sophisticated drug operations in American history, and claimed he did it by smuggling heroin from Southeast Asia in the coffins of dead US soldiers. That story became legend. It even made it into Hollywood. But behind the myth, behind the headlines, was a man who risked everything to bring Lucas down. A man named Richie Roberts. Roberts wasn't flashy. He didn't wear expensive suits or drive fast cars. But what made him different was something much rarer in 1970s law enforcement. He couldn't be bought. In a time when police corruption was practically expected, Roberts stood alone. And it all started with a discovery that shocked even his own team. Nearly $1 million in unclaimed cash found in the trunk of a car. No ID, no paperwork, just stacks of money. Now, most cops in that era would have taken their cut and walked away. But Richie didn't take a dime. He turned every last dollar in, and for that, he became a pariah in his own department. His fellow officers didn't admire his honesty, they hated it. To them, he wasn't a hero, he was a rat. But that integrity would soon pay off. Roberts was placed in charge of a special federal task force focused on narcotics trafficking. And almost immediately, one name started coming up again and again: Frank Lucas. But Lucas wasn't your typical drug dealer. He didn't use the mafia's network. He cut out the middlemen. According to him, he went straight to the source, buying heroin directly from producers in Thailand and smuggling it back using US military cargo planes during the Vietnam War. He called his product Blue Magic. It was cheap, dangerously pure, and everywhere. At his peak, Lucas claimed he was making up to $1 million a day, though modern sources suggest that figure was exaggerated. But what's not in doubt is this: Lucas ran a global operation that law enforcement had no idea how to stop. That's where Richie Roberts came in. While other cops chased street dealers, Roberts looked deeper. He studied Lucas's movements, his family, his money. He learned that Lucas wasn't living in some mansion. He was laying low in a modest New Jersey home. He was smart, quiet, calculated, and he had family members helping him run the business. Roberts and his team worked for months building a case. Wiretaps, surveillance, informants. Then, in 1975, the break finally came. Lucas's home was raided. His wife famously tried to throw over $500,000 out the window in a suitcase. He was arrested, and the weight of the charges was crushing. Drug trafficking, racketeering, conspiracy. He was facing 70 years behind bars. And then the unthinkable happened. Frank Lucas flipped. He cooperated. He gave up names, and not just gang members. Lucas helped expose widespread corruption in law enforcement. More than 150 people were convicted as a result of his cooperation, including police officers, customs agents, and even fellow drug traffickers. He brought down parts of the very system that once turned a blind eye to his empire. Roberts wasn't just the cop who caught Frank Lucas. He became the prosecutor who helped dismantle the entire drug network Lucas had built. And in an ironic twist, he later became Lucas's defense attorney when the drug kingpin was arrested again in the 1980s for attempting to buy cocaine. That move stunned many. Why would the man who brought Lucas down now defend him? According to Roberts, it wasn't friendship, it was principle. Everyone deserves a fair defense. And perhaps, after all the betrayal and chaos, he saw something in Lucas that others didn't. A man trying, however messily, to change. But the story doesn't end there. While Lucas faded from the spotlight in the 1990s, Richie Roberts had his own fall from grace. In the 2010s, he faced legal trouble himself, accused of misusing funds from a client's account and failing to pay taxes. He eventually pled guilty and surrendered his law license. It was a stark reminder that even the heroes of the story can stumble. Still, Roberts' legacy remains. He stood against corruption at a time when it was everywhere. He built a case so strong, it helped bring down one of the most powerful drug lords in American history, and cleaned out large portions of a rotten system. Frank Lucas may have ruled Harlem, but Richie Roberts proved that one honest man, armed with nothing but truth and determination, could bring the whole empire down.